When I saw Rocky Four back in the theaters at the Temple in Holton, Maine, while I was going to college nearby NBCC Woodstock, I found it was a good movie, not as bad as some people said, but it seemed to be a little bit rushed on the editing, and didn't I know it? But years later, Stallone, who directed the movie, decided to put together a director's cut. Now, this started in August 2020 when he announced that a director's cut edition of the film would be released to commemorate the film's 35th anniversary. Ongoing editing ultimately pushed the release date, with Stallone finishing his editing sometime in January in 2021. In all, approximately 38 minutes of previous unreleased footage, consisting of both new scenes and alternate takes, was added to the film, including significant extensions of both fight scenes and the Apollo Creed funeral scene. Now, in the original Rocky, all the fights were a little bit too close up. Here's more of a, like, what they call a widescreen version, and the Russian Politburo and the Russian people are not just caricatures here; they're real characters. Now, this has also an addition as a lengthier recap of Rocky 3 at the beginning of the film. Conversely, a significant amount of original footage was removed or replaced, as director's cut runs 93 minutes compared to the original 91. Now, one major cut was that of scenes involving, get this, Polly's robot. The robot is going to the junkyard forever, no more robot, Stallone commented. Robert Durnick, founder of International Robotics and the voice of the robot, commented that Stallone cut all the robot scenes in the director's cut to save money on royalty fees that were given to Durnick in the original cut. Scenes with his ex-wife Brigitte Nielsen, who played Ludmilla, Ivan Drago's wife, were also substantially diminished, particularly the scenes where she spoke for her husband at press conferences and her encounter with Apollo Creed's wife in Las Vegas, just before that fight's tragic end between Creed and Drago. Nielsen and Stallone were married in 1985, shortly after the film's premiere, and divorced in 1987, which perhaps explains Stallone's decision to now reduce the role of his ex-wife in the film. In contrast, additional minor scenes featuring Adrian and Drago's manager Nikolai were added to the film. Other scenes from the 1985 version were removed from the new cut, including Balboa celebrating his wedding anniversary with Adrian and the Soviet regime leaders applauding Rocky for his speech after winning the final fight. Now, if you see all the key scenes, you all know the scenes in Rocky 4, is either augmented or expanded or like different angles, and the cut seems a little bit brighter. The director's cut also features addition of some of Bill Conti's themes from previous films onto the soundtrack and the toning down of sound effects, particularly the exaggerated punching sounds heard in the original cut. The new cut is also presented in 2.39 to 1 compared to the original's 1.85 to 1. Now, the cut missed its original release date by several months, only came out in November of 2020. Though by February 2021, Stallone publicly stated that he was putting the finishing touches on the project. On April 6, 2021, he announced the completion of the cut. The director's cut, titled Rocky IV, Rocky vs. Drago, the ultimate director's cut, had a one-night theatrical release on November 11, 2021. It was then released in original formats on the following day. A making-of video was released on YouTube a week prior to the director's cut. Now, the new cut received better reviews from critics, mainly praising the fights with new choreography and sound, more dramatic tone and character development, but still criticizing the plot. On Rotten Tomatoes, the recut version ranked 7 out of 10, based on 15 reviews. Now, Jeremy Smith from Polygon stated, the triumph of Stallone's director's cut, with a pin-sharp focus on Apollo and Rocky's relationship and his ruthless removal of anything which distracts, is that it not only nails the central message of the film, but the very point of existence in all montages aside. In his review for Empire, Terry White praised the clear motivations of the director's cut. He said, without the guilt of excessive breathing quite so hard, the story of Rocky then pledging to fight Drago in Russia on Christmas Day becomes clear. It's not about solving the Cold War or even a simple revenge yarn wrapped in bombastic patriotism. Rocky needs to find a way to break free of the code, to find a way to change, and Apollo couldn't. It says now more explicitly, and he died because of it. And the key one, too, is the end scene where the Russians, instead of clapping, they run off, which would be more the Russians of that era. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing here with a Vintage Podcast, let us know to like, comment, subscribe, or share. 3 stars out of 4. Bye.